Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Moment for Stillness that is led by Push for Empowered Pregnancy. And we are going to be talking to some very special guests on this live. So please share it forward. I'm going to invite them on the stage in a moment, but just wanted to give everyone background on what today is about. We have an amazing short film. It is also called Push, and many of you may have watched it when we first released it, but we put a pause on that to have a very special awareness campaign that is happening today. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing. This is an important moment. We actually really want people who are not just lost parents to be involved in the movement. So if you did lose a child, we are very sorry for your loss. We obviously know your pain and we feel the same. I'm here honoring my son, Owen, and this is his little section here. But so if you are very triggered by the experience that you went through, we do recommend that you watch this film with care or skip that and just go forward and share the petition and share the post that we're posting today so that you can call in anyone in your community to join us, because we need all the voices in on this. Unfortunately, there is a lot of stillbirths in our country. If you're not aware, over 23,000 are born still every year, and that number has not gotten lower in many decades. So it's a public health crisis that hasn't been addressed, and that's why Push is here. Unfortunately, we have to get louder, and we welcome you all to join us in this fight. So I'm going to welcome first my co-conspirator, who is running around New York right now as she's educating providers at NYU today, and she has been, one of our strongest warriors here. So we want to add her in, let her have a moment to share her voice, and then we'll bring in the actors of the film. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Anna. Hey, everyone. Sorry if it's a little loud here. I'm in Manhattan. I'm actually right outside the NYU Grossman Medical School, where I'm going to be speaking with a bunch of OBs today to share about the stillbirth crisis in the U.S. And so really meaningful, impactful way to be bringing in my moment of stillness. I cheated and I did my moment a few minutes ago before I started hustling uptown. So I will be putting up a post, but I'm going to have to drop in a moment. But I just wanted to say hello, say thank you. I know there are so many people out there today who are stepping up to help us raise awareness, even though you may not have been directly affected. And as part of a community that has been, pushed under the rug and, living in the shadows for so long, I just cannot put to words how incredibly meaningful and touching and moving it is to see so many people who don't have to, raising their voices in solidarity with us. So thank you so much. We hope that with your help, we can change prenatal care standards in the United States and start preventing at least 1 in 4 stillbirths, which we know should be doable right now. And with some additional changes and with determination, we know that we could be reaching the same levels of our international peers, which is preventing up to 75% of U.S. stillbirths. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for participating. And I'm going to mute myself and I'll drop what I need to.
But thank you, Sam. Yeah, so we're trying to take a moment today. So I know there's a lot of hustle, and thank you for, in your busyness, taking a moment with us, Sam. Because I know, and I point it out all the time that, we look like we know what we're doing. We're a big, crazy, fast-moving charity that is only going to turn 4 soon, but all of us lost babies. We're bereaved, parent-led, and so we carry that pain as well, and that's what motivates us. So Alana's mother there is one of our strongest warriors, as are all of our directors. So we thank you guys for supporting this charity, because it does mean a lot to us as parents to have a legacy for our children of change. So I'm going to welcome our first actor to the stage. We have Nathan here with us. Hopefully Jay will be able to hop in soon. But so when we created this film, it was really interesting because we were all not really sure about a film. Someone, from Cobase, who's worked with us, suggested, why don't you guys make a short film? It'll be really impactful. It'll be aware to spread awareness, focus on one issue, which is the change in fetal movement and how important that is to know about it and how urgent it is to get care right away and have your providers hear you and, do the proper testing and hopefully deliver your baby urgently if needed. And unfortunately, that didn't happen for my son. They were a little too late. So we do know personally that this is really, really important to save lives. So thankfully, we had a wonderful director who was Ingrid, and I'm going to remove Sam from the stage here since she's not here. So she actually wrote this film and pitched it to us, and it was crazy because we were just like, wow, it's actually exactly what we wanted to write. You know, the artistry of this, you'll see it's really interesting. It goes back and forth, and it's very shocking. So we were very much excited to make the film. So we went to LA and kind of supervised the shoot, and we really didn't say anything because these actors are amazing. So I'm going to bring Nathan on right now to chat with him. Hello.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us and for your amazing work on the film. It was, like I said, I couldn't speak. I don't know if you noticed. We were there. So we were just in awe and just like, wow, like obviously we lived this experience ourselves. It was very hard to watch personally, but I wanted to be there to see like, okay, you know, this is our reality, the reality of 23,000 parents a year. It has, or more than that, double. It has to be done right. You know, we don't want people to watch this and say like, oh, that's not really how it was.
Yeah.
Like, no, but like seeing you guys at work, I don't know, my mouth was open or shut, but I didn't say a word to you. And at the end, a thank you, you know, for what you did. And I just want to, first of all, let you introduce yourself, and then you can tell us kind of how it was for you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Anna and Sam, for having me on today. I think this is a really special film. And for me, I think it was just such an impactful moment because it is also a film for me that sits pretty close to home as well. I've had experiences with unfortunately lost pregnancies also within my own family as well. And so it just definitely hit a spot of realness and rawness and vulnerability, and just so the experience of being on set for me was just one that I think I'll always remember because it's always fun whenever you walk into set. People are always doing everything. There are a million things going on, but it was so cool that Ingrid, the director, she came over and she sought us out, the actors, Jay and myself, and she sat us down and she just talked to us for a moment and just took the time and to explain her story and to explain her connection to this work. And I think that's always so special, whenever a director does that. You can see the care, you can see the passion that's infused within this project. And it's just, from the words to the page to what you see, the entire thing is just filled with heart, as it should be for a film like this. And I think that really reads through. So, everyone on set was just so nice, so welcoming, so warm, so passionate about doing this right, and which just, I think and I think Jay will probably speak to this later too as well, but created such a space for us just to be real, and experience it as well. So that's kind of
I'm going to bring Jay on because what I thought was so interesting is like Jay, first of all, was not currently pregnant. So I first saw her, I thought she was. So I'm going to bring her on here with us.
Yeah.
Hi, Jay.
This is very true. Good morning, everyone. Oh my goodness.
You got me, girl. I was like, oh, wow, we got a real pregnant lady to do this. That must be hard for her.
It's so crazy. Everyone thought I actually was pregnant. People were like, oh my God, don't carry your bags. Put those down. I was like, guys, hey, this is great. I was like,
oh you were so real. You both did such an amazing job. And of course, you didn't know each other, right? I don't know.
We got acquainted very quickly.
Yes, you're like, hey, we're having a baby.
Oh my God.
We like each other.
And after a while, I started to convince myself, maybe I am pregnant. But it's, oh my God, the experience was incredible and absolutely, I wish there was more words to even explain the process. Once you put that belly on, it gets real very quickly. So tapping in as soon as those moments happen wasn't hard because the stakes were so high and they were set in the room and the seriousness of what we were talking about spoke volumes. So it was.
And so Ingrid was also pregnant actually during the whole process. So we were like, well, this must be really tough on her too, to be presenting a movie about stillbirth and be currently pregnant. But she's a very strong woman, and we really thank her for channeling that, maternal energy and everything. It's just like, couldn't have done it better, any one of us ourselves. And so during the film, like I said, I didn't say anything to you two, but you were basically living out our worst nightmare, which happened to many of us in real time. And so, in our experience of it in reality is that you get blindsided by a stillbirth because you don't get spoken to it enough. Like no one really mentions a lot about like, well, even if you're a low risk pregnancy, this can happen to you. So be very aware of a movement change, because that's the only way you could personally tell if there's something wrong with your baby. Because, if they're unwell, they're just not going to move the same way, whether they're like much slower or if they're just frantic all of a sudden from, my own loss was the cord damage. So I just wanted to ask you guys, prior to this, did you have knowledge about stillbirth and like that it was preventable or that there were certain signs, anything like that?
Well, me personally, no. I think the closest thing I've ever had was as a miscarriage, but stillbirth was a whole nother level. Speaking with you guys personally after hit even harder. I mean, it was very progressive even as we went through it, and the information when we were speaking to the doctor on the phone, and just the knowledge that they were trying to give that was false information, and which was a replica of what you guys actually experienced in real time. So we felt it as we went, but it doesn't speak volumes to what it's like for you guys who actually lived it. I learned so much that day on set. I can't even imagine the strength it takes during and then honestly after the aftermath that you guys who've experienced this in real time deal with every day. So I learned more on set than I knew prior. And I have so many takeaways and more knowledge now when I do become pregnant one day to use and take with me and to spread on to others as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I also didn't know really much about stillbirth at all. I grew up with a mother who was she was an OBGYN as well for a brief period of time. And so I heard a lot of things about pregnancy, but I never knew about stillbirth. So yeah, it's the knowledge, I think, is definitely, needing to be spread for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So we are actually one moment away from the moment. So I just placed on our screen stillnessisanillness.com so everyone can prepare to migrate over there. We want you to watch the film. Again, trigger warning only for the lost community. It's not actually an ugly way of, we didn't even go into the deep, like, oh, crazy after effect, because we were like, we want this to be digestible, and we want you all to watch it. The whole world needs to watch it. But if you've been through this, it can be triggering of, your own experience. So watch that with care if you want to. And I personally watched it at the premiere with just like my face. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the photos, but unfortunately we couldn't bring them out, but we hope to do a premiere in LA one day and have you guys there and celebrate with you guys. But it was just too real, obviously, for me. So it's now noon. Everyone go watch. And we do want to come back just for a quick chat together and share kind of experience of how it was to watch that film. And don't forget to sign the petition that'll pop up after the film. That's the most important, so we can use that to call for action. Thank you all so much.
Enjoy.
Thanks, everybody.